you that don't know, and I'm guessing you do, some of you anyway, First Comics is Chicago's very own comic book company, started in the 80s. We have here today two of the creative geniuses behind it, Rick Obadiah, who Mike Gold, first editor-in-chief. Bill Staten, who was First Comics first art director. Alex Wall, who succeeded Joe as art director and is art director today. First Comics relaunch was stimulated by a number of things. One of them is that I have the great good fortune to get to work in one component of my life with some of the best and the brightest of the comic book talent. And I also give a certain amount of my time to up-and-coming talent that I think have great ability and don't have any way to get their voice seen or heard. And it was becoming increasingly clear whether you were somebody trying to break in, it was becoming increasingly clear that there were fewer and fewer venues that were either possible or economically reasonable for an independent comic creator to publish. I am a believer in books. I read a definition the other day in the Tribune. It was a long diatribe about what constitutes a geek. Why is it that, say, San Diego Comic-Con has such substantial influence on pop culture today, given that the relative numbers are fairly insignificant? It's a highly disproportionate impact that our industry has. And I think the answer is, and is coincident with my definition of geekdom, or one element of it, is passion. People here at this convention, for example, are passionate. They may be passionate about different things. They may be passionate about a character or a publisher. They're Marvel people, DC people, what have you. They may be passionate about cosplay. There's some phenomenal costumes. They may be passionate about comic art. But whatever, they're passionate. And I've always been passionate about books as a medium. And I was interested a few years ago, you must have seen it, when the death knell went out for books, you know, that we're just not going to have any more books. People are going to read everything on computers or devices and so on. And then, I don't know if this really was the thing that put that to rest, but then the first Harry Potter book came out, and suddenly reading was more popular than ever. And funny thing, even though she's finished with that incredible series, books are still more popular than ever. People thought digital might hurt books. It seems at the moment that it's actually helping books. And that has to do with the differences between why we get a book, whether it's paper or digital. There's a lot of different reasons for that. But some of the reasons which nobody ever thought about before digital, because it didn't matter. If you're a bookseller, you didn't care why somebody bought a book. But it turns out books help identify us. The books that we identify as ours, whether they're comics pristinely kept, or comics strewn all over your apartment, whether they're books on the bookshelf, the ones you keep are the ones that you have a particular identification with or passion for. You collect Thomas Pynchon, you collect first editions, you collect Daniel Way's run on Deadpool, whatever it is, that helps identify you. And what you do with those books is not only have them accessible to you, which you could do digitally for stories, but you also want to share them. One of the nicest things anybody can give somebody they love is a book, because it either says, I know you will like this because I know your tastes, or it says, I'm hoping you like this because it's something that I love. Just those two reasons alone, being able to create an identity by virtue of your bookshelf. If you're going to somebody's house or apartment and their living room or whatever their sitting room is has shelves with books, invariably, I would bet 90+% of you, as soon as you can sneak a look, you say, man, what's this person reading? What are they like? Because it tells us something about them. And certainly gifts a whole nother thing. So I saw digital publishing as a game changer, but only in that it got rid of the stupidity of having to publish, do a whole bunch of printing, get stuck with a bunch of books. We don't have that in direct sale, but we do everywhere else. And having an author who's done wonderful work, author and artist, writer, combines them, find that his or her book it's now out of print. What digital gives us, at least as long as the little ones and zeros hold up, is it gives us that evergreen constancy, that immortality, that ability for you to say to somebody, hey, have you ever read fill in the blank? And invariably, at least digitally, they can get it the same day. They can read it the same day. This, to me, was a game changer. But the principal driving force was Matt Sturgis had no place to publish Four Norsemen of the Apocalypse. He wanted to do a comic series called Public Relations. And Matt is one of the top writers going today. He's doing a big chunk of the Ferris Fable spin-off. He did House of Mystery, which, of all things, Whoopi Goldberg talked me into reading, and I thought, this is just, you gotta be kidding me. And I swear to you, it's brilliant. Anybody that buys one and then says, not so good, find me at a convention, I'll buy it back from you. How's that for a guarantee? And the other thing, the thing about voice is, it lets me stop wasting time. Okay, thank you.
Thanks for
I want to shift. Alex, Joe, and Dan, and can I get Matt and Sean and Omaha up here? And you stay.
Okay. You say so, sorry, go ahead.
I'm going to do this, we need like a stage coordinator, but I don't have that kind of this from there. On the category of, they fit in a couple of categories, but one of them is certainly needing a voice. There have been 3, I think, disparate convention issues of Bob. Did the 4th one come out?
We got 4.
They came out?
They came out.
I saw them and said, you know, Bob really needs a home. And to do that, we really should give more than these wonderful little sort of vignettes, is the way I was looking at it. So, this is Dan Doherty, the artist.
He needed water.
Okay.
I'll be back.
Tell us, give me the little setup for Bob.
All right, so Bob, I'll stand up. Is it okay?
Yeah.
All right. Bob is an everyman plumber. Doesn't have a whole lot to say, but he managed to always find himself in the company of monsters. So, with his trusty wrench and just kind of everyman heroism, he ends up battling a whole lot of beastie creatures all the time. And as in that 4-issue arc, you kind of come to realize the backstory about his troubled past, even though he tends to be sort of a humorous, almost Buster Keaton-esque.
And what's the full title?
Bob Howard, Plumber of the Unknown.
Now,
Yeah.
we're gonna go back to that as a recurring theme, which is my great, good, and wise friend Jimmy Palmiotti once told me a long time ago, title's really 51% of it. If your title works, the rest of it kind of just sweeps right along. And I heard Bob Howard, Plumber of the Unknown, it was like, that just rocks. There's Raph.
Oh,
Raph Davis is the writer. And this book is going to be
August?
Yeah. Is there anybody here from C2E2? Good. We're negotiating with that wizard show in Chicago for August, and if that works out, we're going to have a really nice space, and we're going to premiere Bob Howard, Plumber of the Unknown there in Rosemont. And if you come up and say, hey, we were at C2E2 and we heard about Bob Howard, I'll give you a free book. So look at Dan's art here, man. Some of this stuff is just, isn't that phenomenal? And then this is a rough of the cover. We're not there yet, but and it kind of blurs in the digital transmutation through the McCormick Place stuff. But boy, it's just gorgeous stuff. Steve Stern stayed up here with, this is Matt Philbach, Sean Philbach, known to our industry as the Philbach brothers, and you should give them a hand. One of the titles they're doing for us is one that Steve Stern and Dan Cody have been of enormous help and so generous in their time and their ideas. One of the things we talked about early on was that there really isn't enough content for kids, or let's say all ages. And so I said, well, you know, it's just hard to find stuff that you would want to publish that works. And Steve said, oh, no, it isn't. And 2 months later, he hands in the script for frickin' butt-kicking zombie ants. And I said, well, I mean, I know who's got to draw this, if they're willing to, and that's Matt and Sean. Philip brothers are extraordinarily versatile in what they can do, and we are going to prove it this year. They'll have Zombie Ants 2. They're probably best known, I think, for their years on the Clone Wars Digest books. And they came to us and said, we'd like to do a Clone Wars Digest book. We said, yeah, but there's a problem there with, you know, the copyright said, no, we're just going to do our own stuff. It'll be better, it'll be funnier, it'll work. And that turns into Tales of the SS Junkie Star. This is book 1. It literally came in on Wednesday of this week from the printer. And it's lovely. It's terrific. It just works. They have a book that I think is just going to astonish people, called Cadaver Dogs of Winter, and that'll be out also this summer. And then they have 3 more books. They're wonderfully prolific, and also some of my favorite people in the world. So again, my appreciation to you guys for all that you do. Then there's Omaha Perez, and you can give Omaha Perez a hand, because Omaha and I met when he did Holmes. If you've ever seen Holmes, it's funny, it's smart. About half of it was ripped off by the Robert Downey Jr. movie. And he did it originally in 4 covers. And each cover was, what was the process, Omaha?
That's scratchboard. It's meant to look like the old newsprint engravers. So I duplicated that with scratchboard, which is just the black film coated paper. You take out the white lines. And,
It's gorgeous. Omaha and I ran into each other at, I don't know, WonderCon or some damn place a year or so ago.
Oh, the first time we met?
No, on this. And I said, what are you doing? He says, oh, I'm working on just something I always wanted to do called Drood. And I said, what is it? And it turns out to be sort of like if Thomas Pynchon decided to write The Big Lebowski. It's a natural mashup, isn't it? It's one of those over-the-top things that somehow manages to ground itself in reality. It's hysterically funny. It's going to be 5 issues. The first of them will be out when the last one is done. In the meantime, we did an ash can, and there's an ash can of Drood for each of you for being nice enough to attend. About it, you can get Omaha to sign it before he has to take off. But thank you, Omaha, for letting us publish that one.
Thank you, Ken.
Now we get into our very, very special guest segment. First of all, very, very special guest from the Los Angeles area of California. I just want to introduce him, and that's Mr. Lennon Perez. Lennon has been a trooper all weekend at the booth, and he's been willing to miss a couple of things that he probably would have liked to do because of our convention, and the best we could do is send him to a White Sox game, which I hope you enjoy. Second, we're talking about titles. Last May I was on location in Los Angeles on a film we're doing called The Scribbler, which is from a Dan Schaefer screenplay. Dan is British comics creator who then morphed into film and turns out to be a savant at film writing. He's written 8 scripts, 3 of them have been made, 4 of them are optioned. And we were shooting The Scribbler, and Todd Masters, a friend of mine who does all the practical effects for anybody that wants good practical effects like True Blood on HBO and stuff, calls me and says, do you know Jen and Sylv Saska? And I said, no. He said, I want to introduce you to them. We'll come by tonight around 7 at night to 7 in the morning shoot. So they came by, and Mary and I get to say hi to them. And I said, what have you done? I know, and Jen says, well, our first movie was Dead Hooker in the Trunk. And I thought, man, Jim told me that'd rule right there. Then Sylvie applauds it by saying, and it's about, I said, Sylvie, honestly. Glennie didn't. An enormous, warm welcome from Chicago for these Vancouver people, the Terror Twins, Jen and Sylv Saska, who are writer-directors of some of the funniest, smartest horror movies that you will find. Will you stand up and These are limited edition mini posters, there are only 100 of them. We're giving one to each of you, and if you're really lucky, you've got like 2 hours to find the Saskas at our booth, and they'll sign for you, they'll do handstands for you, they'll gush all over you. And the reason I can't ask them a question is because we were at the London premiere, Mary and I, of American Mary, and before the film starts, they're up on stage with a couple of the other people from the film, and somebody asks them one question, and a half hour later, they're still answering the question. We love these people. American Mary is, and I'm not a horror film guy, but it's right on the muscle, and I think the thing I like of it is most of the horror stuff seems to be kind of misogynistic and, you know, torture porn and all that crap, and theirs is turns it on its head and is women empowering, and I just love your stuff. American Mary is available, it's coming to theaters in 3rd week of May, something like that.
May 31st.
And it's on Netflix in the middle of May?
May 16th.
Yeah, May 15th. American Mary. That's all I can tell you. So if you get the poster, then